So day three comes to an end. This is me walking away from the final venue, Greenside, at Nicholson Square, having spent the entire day watching a variety of good stuff, not so good stuff, interesting stuff. A couple of things that I am going to point out. But before I do, I started this morning by talking about front of house staff. I have to tip my hat to them this very day. First of all, marketing. I had sent my press request to the wrong email address at Greenside, so the last one that I've just been to see, they sorted a ticket out late on for me, so many thanks to them for their efficiency and indeed their good grace for helping an old guy out who didn't quite get it right in the first place. A couple of places where still there's a little bit of niggles and stuff in terms of some people in front of house more interested in what's on their phone than what's actually happening around them, which is a minor sort of piece of nonsense in comparison to maybe some of the other things that I thought were quite difficult. Still see problems with the ticketing system, still wonder why they have not trialled it more effectively in order to give us something out of it which is going to be more effective for front of house, because crowd control is really important. In fact, I found that particularly today because there was one venue that I went to that's not one of the big venues where they had a slightly more lackadaisical approach to timings and things, which can be for most people not an issue. For those of us like me who've got to get from one place to another, it can end up being a bit of a challenge. So as I wander into Bristol Square, which is hoaching with folk, let me tell you about a couple of shows that I've seen today that I think you should get yourself round to. First of all, it's my old mates. What do you think of that? Wonderful to see them again. I saw them a few years back. I interviewed them for Fringe Review, which was great, and to listen to their journey. I know that's an entirely theatrical cliche, but they are three fantastic comedians from Glasgow with brilliant Glasgow patter. What they had today was a more mature performance, something that demonstrated that they'd learnt from the experiences they'd had. I mean, when one of them stood up and said 4 years of drama school to be standing here, and he had a gnome's hat on and he was holding two gnomes, was cliched but priceless, because I knew behind that there was something, which is that they are drama students who have become actors. They're professional actors now, but they've gone through the training. So to go through your apprenticeship in this particular manner can be tough, can be really, really tough. But what I saw was a show that I had seen a bit of development in it. Some of it was similar to what I'd seen a few years back, but there's nothing wrong with that, because they retained the good stuff and they developed some new stuff, and their songs are hilarious. It's not exactly what I would pick if I was looking for a comedy show myself. It is humour that perhaps is slightly younger than I am. I have perhaps that appalling Radio 4 middle class kind of theatrical view of what my humour should be like, but do you know what? They're dead bloody funny, and they also are really good with an audience, and that was the maturity that I saw today. I thought they'd really grown and really taken command, so that's going to be a pleasure to write up. Also, The End of the World at Dance Space. Absolutely astonishing piece of dance theatre that I just absolutely and totally adore. 4 years in the making, a lot of stuff behind it. Another one that I'm going to really enjoy writing up. But there's a couple of things that I've seen today that remind me about why this is so important to so many people. First of all, when I was just there at Greenside before I went in, there was this wonderful group portrait of a girl standing with her family who'd obviously come from quite far. Their accents would tell me that. Not I'm talking about abroad, I'm talking about somewhere in England. And there she was, pleased and proud as punch to have family and friends there. And just for a moment, whilst we girl and we moan about so much to do with the Fringe, to do with the organisation, to do with everything, there was for me a second or so, perhaps a lot longer, I'm just reflecting on how important for young companies this is, how important it is for their development to be in front of live audiences again. It's so important for keeping the theatres alive, vibrant, that this festival has something still very much to give. And that followed last night when I was coming out of the exactly same venue where somebody was trying to give some kind of technical direction to an actress, and she interrupted them and saying, listen, I'm just going to go and say hello to my sister. So as I began this festival, I had written about an experience I had from reviewing a student many, many years ago who has gone on to win a BAFTA and win an Olivier for her show based on Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice sort of. I know I don't think, as I wrote then, that there was anything to do with me, because I reviewed her and she thanked me for the review afterwards and said how important it had been to give her the confidence to go on to the next stage. This festival has that. It has the ability to give people not the dream, but to tell them whether or not the dream could ever become a reality. And it's for people like me to remember that when we go and we see work that maybe isn't quite polished enough, isn't quite there yet, but has something at the core of it. And during the course of today and yesterday, and Tuesday rather, my day two, there were a couple that didn't quite for me hit the heights that they should have hit. A couple that I'm not going to get reviews, but the reviews have been, or not going to get them publicly published, but are being offered privately, because I think that it's important not to diminish the work that we have seen or indeed slag it off. So, a mixed day. Still little bits and pieces that can be an annoyance, not necessarily a difficulty. A reminder as I've gone through the day of how important it is not only to get things right, but also to understand what our role and responsibilities are. And as you can see, pure ocean, as we say in Scotland. In all the key places, there are of course places where it's a bit deserted. Overall, we're back. Of course the question is always going to be, are we back better? And the worry is always, are we back bigger? Day 4 will be next week. Well, actually day 4 will be at the weekend, but I'm not going to say anything about it because it's one under the radar. Day 5 will be next week. And I hope to speak to you then. Bye for now.